Good morning. Today is Monday, the 23rd day of Teves. Tonight is the 24th of Teves, which is, of course, the yahrzeit of the Tanya, the Alter Rebbe, Rabbi Shlomo Zalman, the author of the Tanya and the Shulchan Aruch, that we study every day. And we're going to have tomorrow night of Farbringen, God willing, and Hakel Farbringen, my Motel's house. Make sure to join us. We begin the Tanya with Tzedakah. Once again, Gedoylo Tzedakah Shemekarebes Sageula. So today we begin chapter 15 in Tanya. And in this chapter, the Alter Rebbe introduces us to the two levels of the Beinoni. That is based on what we explained earlier in the Tanya. The difference between the tzaddik and the Beinoni. The tzaddik, the righteous one, the one who completely eliminated his evil inclination, he has no desires whatsoever to do anything against the will of Hashem. Just the worldly desires does not talk to him at all. The Beinoni is the person that has a desire, has an evil inclination, has the animal soul in him, along with the godly soul, and they both have a struggle, they have a battle. However, the Beinoni, the intermediate person, is the one that constantly is in control. It does not allow the animal soul to control his body, meaning when it comes to thinking, speaking, and doing, he does only what the godly soul wants. Yes, he can have desires, but he pushes them away right away as soon as they come. So the Alter Rebbe goes, based on this understanding, he's going to explain an interesting Talmudic discussion on a verse that it says in Malachi. In Malachi, there's a verse that says, "Ushavtem v'reitem ben tzadik larasha ben oved elokim lashelo avado." I'm going to read it inside, and then we'll explain what the Alter Rebbe is discussing. Let's begin. Says the Alter Rebbe, chapter 15. Says, "B'zeh yuvan ma shekasuv v'shavtem ureisem ben tzadik larasha bein oved elokim lasher lo avado." With this distinction in mind, what we just explained between the tzaddik and the Beinoni, we will understand the verse. We may understand the verse that it says, and you will return and see the difference between the righteous man and the wicked one, between he who serves God and he who serves him not. So this verse in Malachi talks about the time of Mashiach. Today, we can't see what's happening in somebody else's heart. You can look at a person, he seems like a tzaddik, seems like a holy man, and little do you know that he's not exactly that way. On the other end, you can have people who look, you couldn't tell that they are special, and yet in the heart, there's something special, a tzaddik. So we don't see it today. We can't see. Only Hashem can see. But in the time of Mashiach, says Malachi, "V'shavtem ureitem," you will be able to see. Everyone will be able to see the difference. You look at a person, you'll be able to tell this is a tzaddik, this is a rasha, this is oved elokim, this is one who serves God, and the other one serves him not. Okay, that's the verse in the Malachi. So the Talmud tells us a discussion of one of the sages by the name Ben Hey, son of Hey. He said to the Hillel, he said to him that about this verse, it seems to be redundant. The verse says you should see the difference between the righteous one and the wicked one, the one who serves God and the one who serves him not. So why the repetition? So of course, in the Bible, we find in the Torah, we find many times the Torah uses poetic way of saying things, repeating things in a poetic way. It's just like, in a sermon, you would describe certain people and certain titles. You give them with many different titles. You're giving many different descriptions. So it's just repetition. But this is true. Nevertheless, in the Torah, everything is also precise, and you can find the deeper meaning behind the repetitions. That if there is a repetition, even though it may sound poetic, but there must be a difference, must be a reason. And that's what Ben Heya was asking Hillel, what is the difference? What is the difference between, seems to be repetitious? And Hillel told him that the difference between the one who serves him, the one who serves God, and the one who does not serve God, is the one who serves God is the one who studies his Torah, his teachings 101 times. One who does not serve him, the one who serves him not, is one who studies his teachings, he repeats his learning, his Torah learning, only 100 times. So if you learn 100 times, you don't serve God. If you repeat your learning 101 times, that is considered serving God. The one extra one, it makes you serving God. We're going to talk about it more tomorrow, what that means. But today we're focusing on this, the differences of these levels. What does it mean? So basically the Talmud answers, Hillel answered and told them that's the difference between the tzaddik and the rasha, one who serves God and one who serves him not. So the rasha is a wicked person who doesn't serve God. The other two titles, the Oved Elokim and Lo Avado, one who serves God and one who serves him not, they're both righteous people. They're not rasha at all. But they're different levels. One of them studies his Talmud, does his thing routinely, so he's called Lo Avado, he's not serving God. And the one who does the extra one, he studies 101, he is called one who serves God. So now we understand that they're not the same. It's not a repetition, it's different levels. But if you read carefully, says the Alter Rebbe, the answer of the Talmud still is not sufficient because it only tells you the difference between rasha and Lo Avado, between the wicked one and the one who serves him not. They're not the same. A wicked one is one who doesn't listen, doesn't do the right thing. The one who serves him not, he says, a person who does the right thing, but only does what he's used to do, but he still does the right thing. Okay, so that we understand. What the Talmud does not explain is what is the difference between the tzaddik and the Oved Elokim. What is the difference between the righteous one and the one who serves God? It seems to be the same, they are the same thing. And this is what the Alter Rebbe is going to explain, that based on what we learn, the difference between a tzaddik and a Beinoni, that a tzaddik is one who transformed his evil inclination. He's already serving Hashem. He's one, he doesn't have the evil inclination. And a Beinoni is one who does have an evil inclination, but he works and he serves Hashem. When it comes to action, he does the right thing. So that's what Alter Rebbe explains. That a tzaddik is a tzaddik. Rasha is a rasha. Over the Lakim and Lo Avado, they are both talking about the Beinoni, the one who serves Hashem and does the right thing. And in the Beinoni, there is the two levels. The two levels of a Beinoni, of the intermediate. One of them serves Hashem, and the other one serves him not. And let's continue. Says the Alter Rebbe, שההפרש בין עובד אלוקים לצדיק הוא שעובד הוא לשנוי שהוא באמצע העבודה. The difference between he who serves God, Oved, and a righteous man, a tzaddik, is that he who serves God, written in the present tense, describes one who is still presently laboring in his divine service. What is the laboring? That's the Beinoni. He works hard. He's laboring in divine service. He fights the evil inclination every day in, day out. That is a Beinoni. Over the Lakim is a Beinoni, serves and labors. A tzaddik is not called an oved, is not presently laboring. Why? Because the tzaddik doesn't have those struggles that the Beinoni has. As he'll soon explain. What is the struggles that the Beinoni has? This service consists of the struggle against one's evil nature with the aim of overpowering it and banishing it from the small city. And the body, which is like a small city, whose conquest is the objective of both the good and the evil nature. The godly soul and the animal soul want to conquer the body, which is a small city. And that's what the Beinoni is fighting and struggling, so that it should not vest itself in the organs of the body through evil thoughts, speech, or actions. This constant battle with one's evil nature truly entails much effort, much service and toil. This is the Beinoni. The Beinoni is called the Oyved Elokim, one who serves Hashem. Aval HaTzadik nikra Eved Hashem. The tzaddik, on the other hand, is described a servant of God. B'Shem HaToyar as a title. He already has the title, the servant of Hashem. He's not one who oved, actively working and laboring, fighting to refine himself. He already refined himself. He's called the Eved Hashem. He's a servant of Hashem. And this title, Eved Hashem, conferred on a person and the person himself, it is not merely a description of one's active role, as is the designation one who serves, but this is the title of the tzaddik, Eved Hashem. Just like you say, that the Alter Rebbe, K'moi Shem Chacham Melech Shekvar Nasa Chacham Melech. The term servant is similar to the title sage or king, bestowed on one who has already become a sage or a king. He's already the sage. So you call him Chacham. Chacham, or Melech, a king. It's interesting that Alter Rebbe chooses these two things, these two titles. The wise, the sage, the wise one, or Melech, the king. And our sages refer these two titles to the Yetzer Tov and the Yetzer Hara, the good inclination, the evil inclination. The good inclination, it says, is compared to a Yeled Misken Vechacham, a small and wise child. And the evil inclination is referred to the Melech Zaken Uksila, a king, an old foolish king. So these are the struggle between the good side and the bad side. And here, when we're talking about this struggle, Alter Rebbe chooses. I mean, you could choose many other titles. You could have a Gibor, a strong person, or Ashir, a rich person. This title you can use many different examples, but he chose those two because this is the struggle between the evil and the good inclination. So, but in any case, so this what Alter Rebbe says, that a tzaddik is not a person who presently is involved in a struggle like the Beinoni. The Beinoni, he's the one who struggles. That's why he is called the Oved Elokim, one who serves Hashem. Kach zeh, so too he, the tzaddik, kvar ovad vegoma legamri avodas hamelchama imara. He has already effected and completely accomplished his service of waging war with the evil in him. He has banished it, and it is gone from him, leaving the seat of the evil nature in his heart void within him. So that's why the tzaddik is called the servant of Hashem. Now, but the Beinoni is called the Oved Elokim. However, that's what the Alter Rebbe goes on now to explain, that within the Beinoni himself, we have the two levels. The one who serves him and the one who serves him not. Meaning, what the Alter Rebbe is going to explain, that even by Beinoni, there are sometimes a Beinoni, we said the tzaddik doesn't have an evil inclination. But you know what? Sometimes a Beinoni also can be a person who naturally likes to study Torah. Is an introverted person, is a person with a nature, doesn't have a hot temper, it doesn't have lust and desires, not because he eliminated the evil inclination, but because that's his nature. That's his nature. And therefore, what does he do? He sits and studies and sits and prays. So he does things out of habit, or out of that is his nature. So he does everything right. But if you don't have a struggle, you're not considered over the Elokim, serving Hashem, because you're doing it out of the habit, out of the nature. That's what Alter Rebbe explains now. In the category of the Beinoni, the intermediate person, there are also two levels: he who serves God and he who serves him not. Yet he who serves him not is not wicked. He's not considered a rasha, although he does not wage war with his evil nature. He's not considered a rasha. Why not? Because he never sins. Never in his life has he committed even a minor transgression. He also fulfills all the positive commandments which he was able to fulfill, including the precept of Torah study, which is equal to all of the other commandments combined. So he studies Torah, he does the mitzvahs, to the extent that his mouth never ceases from study. It's not an easy thing, but he still does it. Yet he's still described as he who serves him not, does not serve Hashem. Why? Because he doesn't wage war to do this. He doesn't take a war, doesn't take a battle, a struggle. He does not wage any battle against the evil inclination. He doesn't have a war with the evil inclination to vanquish it through the aid of the divine light that illuminates the godly soul, abiding in the brain, which rules over the heart, as explained above. That's what we explained in the previous chapters. Now, what makes the Beinoni to work and fight the evil inclination? Because he has a godly soul. The godly soul shines in the brain and tells the heart and controls the heart, tells him what to feel and what to do. But this type of person is a kind of guy that doesn't have that struggle. Why? For his evil inclination doesn't oppose him at all in an attempt to deter him from his Torah study and divine service. And thus, he needs not wage any war against it. And again, we're not talking about a tzaddik. We're talking about a person who has an evil inclination. In certain things, certain areas, he may need to fight if somebody will offend him. maybe you'll get offended and he'll have to work on it and not to get angry. And there could be areas that he has. It's not that he eliminated the Yetzer Hara, but it's just that some people, their nature is not as hot-tempered. And that's what Alter Rebbe says. So it is, for example, with one who is by nature an assiduous student, due to his stolid temperament. Person has such a temperament that he's not passionate, is just is more introverted and is down, and so people like that, just some people just like to sit and read a book all day. You don't feel any desires of going out doing crazy things. And who is also free of conflict with sexual desires due to his frigid nature. Some people have that kind of nature. And similarly with other mundane pleasures, he need not exert himself to master a desire for them, for he naturally lacks any feelings for enjoyment. Sounds like a very boring person. Yes, maybe. But that's the kind of guy. So there are some people like that. So if you would be raised in a non-religious family, you'd be reading books all day, maybe to become a nerd, a computer programmer or something. If he was raised in a religious family, he would sit and study Torah and do whatever Hashem wants. But he doesn't have to struggle. He doesn't have to do something for this. For this reason, he doesn't need to contemplate so much on the greatness of God to consciously create a spirit of knowledge and fear of God in his mind. In order to guard himself from transgressing any prohibitive commandments. He also doesn't need to create a love of God in his heart, which would motivate him to bind himself to him, so fulfilling the positive commandments and through Torah study, which equals all of the other commandments together. So a regular person, in order for him to get himself to want to do the mitzvahs, he has to contemplate, he has to think, and he has to develop the love of Hashem, and that will get him to get excited about doing the mitzvah. But this person is not dragged, is not attracted to other things, so he doesn't really need such a big push in order to get himself to do the mitzvah. All he needs is the very latent love, the hidden love, the natural love that every Jew has anyway. And that's enough for him to get him to do the right thing. The hidden love of God found in the heart of all Jews who are called the lovers of his name is sufficient for him to motivate him to motivate his fulfilling the commandments, since he's naturally so inclined. So that's why that person is called that is not considered one who serves Hashem. For this reason, he is not considered one who is serving God at all. Why? Because this latent love is not of his making or achievement by any means. It is our inheritance bequeathed by our patriarchs to the entire Jewish nation. It is an inheritance that we have from our Avraham Avinu. So here Avraham Avinu gets the credit, not him. Every Jew inherited that latent love, the hidden love. As we'll explain further later on, the Alter Rebbe will explain it more. So this is one type of Beinoni who does not serve Hashem, person that doesn't have the nature. Now the Alter Rebbe goes on to say, it could be even a Beinoni who worked on himself, who had a nature, a passionate nature, but for many years he got himself used to do the right thing, to study, wake up in the morning like clockwise, go to synagogue and study and do everything, and he changed himself. Once he changed himself, he became like a second nature. So when you reach that level, it becomes a second nature, and you don't feel that you're required, you need a struggle in order to do the right thing. You're just doing it already, becomes like mechanical almost. So there again, it's not considered serving Hashem. If you got used to it, if you're doing it becomes a habit, then it's not serving Hashem anymore. You're doing the right thing, yes, but you're not investing in it. That's what Alter Rebbe says. So too, he who is not inherently studious, but has accustomed himself to study diligently, so that this habit has become his second nature. Therefore, the diligence is now natural for him. So therefore, by him too, he doesn't need to reveal the deeper love in order to do the right thing. All he needs is the natural love, the hidden love that he has anyway. For him too, the hidden love of God is now sufficient. Unless he wishes to study more than he usually does. So to do so, he must arouse a conscious love of God in his heart. Only such a love can supply the strength necessary to free himself from the restraint of his acquired nature. So that Beinoni needs to go out of his comfort zone. How? That will continue tomorrow. And this is the end of today's shir. Thank you for joining, and we'll see you tomorrow, B'ezrat Hashem.